I'm going to be making some storage cabinets for the workshop, so I thought it was a good time to make a shelf pin jig. I'm starting with a piece of pine that's 36 inches long. It's about 4.5 inches wide, and I planed it down nice and flat and smooth on both sides. I need to make the layout for the shelf pin holes that are in the jig, and to do that I'm going to score a line with the table saw. It's going to lower the blade down until it's just above the surface slightly. Set my rip sense to 2 inches, lock it in place, and make the cut. Now what that gives me is a very accurate line to where the holes are going to be. I'm also going to rip this at that same location again, so all I have to do is leave the fence in the same spot and raise the blade after I've drilled the holes. My first pin is going to be at 3 inches. And then there'll be 2 inches from there on. I put a 5/8 inch Forstner bit in my drill press and set the fence to the right distance from the back here, so I can go ahead and drill those holes. Now, without changing anything else, I took the 5/8 inch bit out and I put a 1/4 inch brad point bit in, and I'll use that to drill the very first hole on each end. Now that I've got all the holes drilled, I can finish ripping the piece. That's this side of the jig is done, and this is the important side right here. I'll put that aside. Now what's left over, I have another piece, and I'm going to rip that down to 1 1/4 inches wide. So I can lay this over there as well. Now what I have left over, I still need a couple of pieces out of this part, but I've got to make a mark to drill a couple of holes first. So I need to measure 3 inches from the end and 3/4 of an inch in from this edge. So now it's back to the drill press to drill these holes. So with the holes drilled, I need to make another cut. I need to cut this strip so that it's 3/4 of an inch wide. So this strip gets cut short, 1 block on each end, and it gets glued back onto this one. This is where I did things a little bit, the stupid way. And what I really should have done was cut this piece to the right length, glued it on here, then drilled that hole rather than, screwing around with these 2 half parts. But it gets to the same thing. What it needs to be is exactly a 1/4 inch hole for an indexing pin. Now all I need to do is glue them together. Now I just let the glue dry for a bit, and then it'll be ready for a test drive. So right here I've got a side panel from one of the storage cabinets that I'm building, and I'm going to cut 2 lines of shelf pins up each side and line my jig up with at the bottom of the panel, and then I can clamp it down. I've set my plunge router up with a 1/4 inch bit and a 5/8 inch collar, and the collar fits in these little notches here. And I set the depth of plunge to about a 1/4 inch into the material. Okay, I got this side done. I can just flip it around and do the other side. Okay, well, you might be asking, what's the advantage of this particular way of doing it here? One thing is you don't have to lift the router and try to find the hole every time. It kind of just naturally slips into the notch. Also, using a router to make the holes makes the cleanest holes. I've drilled them before, and there's no way I could get them as clean as that. And they're all exactly the right depth, and the spacing is exactly right. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.